Hi, Jerome.
Hello.
I love your energy. I love your work.
Thank you.
You answered pretty much all the questions I came here with. I feel like you've answered everybody's questions with those two responses. So I'll be quick. This year, I found a modality that I've started working in. It's called Compassion Key. It's meeting up with the wounded part of you and having one-on-one dialogue with that person, bringing compassion and self-love to that. I love the process. It healed so much for me.
Good.
And I'm now wanting to do it out in the world, and I am doing it out in the world. But I feel a little invisible. I feel like I can't find the clients that I want to work with. And I know it's partly the funnel because I'm like so excited about it that I'm like hitting those trees. But I'm just wondering what you see is like in the way of me like really being able to do this the way I want to.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me your name, please?
Erin Middleton, Erin Middleton, Erin Middleton.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have two things. So it could be a short answer.
Cool.
And they usually go hand in hand with, so what I'm seeing for you is, hold on a second. Okay, so they're telling me you're a highly sensitive person. So do you know highly sensitive to empaths and things like that? So they're saying you're highly sensitive. And so this is very common it's part of the highly sensitive's life journey. So here's the thing that goes hand in hand. One, you are going to have to deal with there's beliefs that you have that have been socially conditioned in you around, and and why I said it's important, it's highly sensitive, is because for highly sensitive, this gets very ingrained and they hold to it tightly, because highly sensitive people really want to be seen as good in the world. And what fucks them up when they start to want to do work and business for themselves is that one of the things they get conditioned into believing and correlating around what it means to be good is that you're of service, but you're not really making money.
Totally.
Right. So especially if you're doing kind of work that's really serving people, that, oh, I don't want to be seen as somebody icky, and all of that. And that starts to the idea of being seen as when asking for money and charging, and all that begins to be associated with being icky, and you don't want to be seen as icky. So there's a block. So you've really got to deal with that. That's a piece, and that's going to be a journey piece because it has several layers to it, because it is culturally, it's societally, it's also going to be what's going on in your family. Right now, that doesn't mean you have to have it completely all the way uprooted to make money. It just means that and it's going to be a journey with it. It just means that throughout your journey, you're going to be working with this thing, right? And deeper levels of it. And the faster you get started, the more results you're going to see. The other part is just marketing. So a lot of things that happen with people that do heart-centered or spiritual or soul work is they're really bad at marketing. And why they're really bad at marketing is because marketing is the aspect of speaking up for the self, letting the self be seen, showing the self. That is an aspect of the ego part of the consciousness. And I know I'm actually going to do a course around this sometime this year, but I've talked about this before. But the ego has been demonized, has been wrongfully demonized, actually, for a very long time, because the ego is actually a part of your soul's consciousness. It is a part of the soul's consciousness. When the soul decides to come into a body, it kind of this dimension is the dimension of duality. So it doesn't split, but it comes into the illusion of having two parts. So you have biology and you have energy, non-physical, and you have spiritual. This is that's the body has two, right? The consciousness has two as well. It has the ego and the what we call the higher self. These are not opposing parts. They're part of the same coin. And it's like the left and the right side of the brain. They're literally correlated with the left and the right side of the brain. The ego is the part of you that the soul creates to focus on the self and the needs of being individuated, right? So that the ego is the part of you. When you have a healthy ego and a strong ego, you speak up for yourself. You let yourself be seen in the world. You get your needs met and you prioritize your needs. But what's been happening, especially for people that are in traditional spirituality, is your ego's been getting suppressed because the teachings are telling you, get away from the ego. You don't want to be the ego. So what you have is a lot of spiritual seekers with very weakened egos, but they're really high in the higher self. And what ends up happening when you're in this imbalance like this, one, you're going to get sick because when you're imbalanced, but two, when your ego is suppressed like that, you don't have good boundaries. You don't get your needs met. So you feel unfulfilled in life, which drains your soul's energy. You become a doormat. You let people walk over you a lot. You be high of service to others. You start to people please. And these are also things that happen with highly sensitives. But this is kind of what happens. But also, so this is what happens usually when you're a heart-centered, spiritual-based, and again, I'm speaking from experience. So I'm not speaking about anything I didn't have to go through that I don't know. So when you're heart-centered, spiritual, intuitive, something like that, you're usually very high in the higher self and lower here. And you got to you don't bring the higher self down. That's not ever what balance is. You bring the lower part kind of up a bit. So sales and marketing are on the ego side of the consciousness because they require you to center the self. And that is for people that are in high and higher self, that usually feels very icky to them. So there are ways. Now, what I'm not telling you to do is to do marketing and sales in an icky way. A way that is out of alignment with you. I'm not telling you that, but I am telling you to do it. And there are a lot of people out there that teach, particularly spiritual seekers, heart-centered entrepreneurs, people like doing work like you, how to market. One person, I'll put his name in the chat. Tell him I sent you if you go to him. His name is Tad Hargrave. I really like his work. He's helped me a lot personally. But particularly Tad specializes in people that are where you are and do the kind of work that you do. And I think you'll really like them.
Yeah, I have kind of this chronic story of like, I'm misunderstood, which I know is a part of it, right? Like how, like, so when I come to marketing, I kind of come to that with that, like, oh, it's too hard to explain what I do, or like people aren't going to get it. I'm too out there, you know. Like,
Tad's work will help you tremendously. I used to do this type of work, as a matter of fact, before I switched over into helping people with their bodies. This is what I was doing. I was a mentor for what I called soulpreneurs. And so I know this work really well. And I know this. So when I'm speaking about this, I know this really, really, really well.
Cool.
That's usually what you feel, especially when you are a highly sensitive person and you are doing the type of work you do. You start to feel like, will people understand me? Does this really, and this is, again, this is my journey as well. So but here I am, and here you are for me, right? So obviously there is a way to tell your message.
Totally. I can see you do it every day. And I'm like, you know, like taking notes, kind of like,
right? So that's because I am allowing myself to be seen. I am speaking authentically about what I want, and I know who I serve,
Yeah.
and I'm speaking to the issues of the people that I serve,
Mhm.
and I'm doing it from a place of true, authentic joy.
Yeah.
And
I
this
see
is
that.
what you want to discover for
Mhm.
yourself. But it's not just I have something great and it's here that and they'll come. There is energy and belief, and there is marketing, and the two of them have to be, again, you're bringing the energy side, higher self side,
Right.
marketing,
The
and the ego
side.
side, the consciousness together. The balance brings success. Much love. Thank you so much for that, and much success. I promise you, you'll get those things. If you give yourself about a dive in for about a year, you will be really, really surprised at where you'll be a year from now.
Thank you.
Much love.
Much love.